Okay, guys.
Do you like scary stories? Well, I have a few to share. They're all real stories, except for one. I always believed that when the world was asleep, things just stayed put. The idea that things moved around at night, living their own lives, terrified me. And it all started after watching Child's Play. My mom's sister was living with us then. She never liked children, but she absolutely loved tormenting us. Still makes me uneasy knowing how much joy she got from it. She knew I hated that movie. So what does she do? She kidnapped one of my dolls, cut off her hair, removed her clothes, and with a hateful hand, gave her a makeover that still haunts me to this day. Any opportunity she had, like when my mom wasn't home, my aunt and her new friend came out to play. It was a nightmare. Nights when my aunt went out, she'd leave the doll in my closet. The hinge on the door was broken and never really closed right. But through the crack, I knew it was watching me. And then, one day, long after my aunt moved out, my mom saw how scared the closet made me. And you know, this is why I love her. She said, "Michelle, we'll clean it out together, okay?" When she saw the doll, she was disturbed. "Did you make this?" I shook my head, and into the trash it went. I had finally found relief. And that was it. It was over. I know what you're thinking. That wasn't scary. I promised you a scary story, right? Well, I'm not done. 10 years later, we found a new life, in a new home, in a new city. Everything felt brand new. By that point, my sister Christine had been born. Like me, she was haunted by the closet in her room. Every time she got close, it was pure terror. One day, when Christine was out, I went to that closet. I knew what I was looking for. It was that stupid damn doll. I threw it away for good, and you'll never believe it. The next day, my aunt died. I'm just kidding. She's still alive, and to be honest, hasn't changed much. She's actually a mom now, which is pretty terrifying if you ask me. But she hasn't been back this way since the day she left. Either way, some way, that doll got back to me, and none of my family is really sure how. I was a year old when my family first moved into this apartment. And what made all this so bizarre was, this was a completely normal kind of place. There wasn't anything spooky about it. That night was nothing out of the ordinary. My mom was making my formula, and my brother was helping out. I'm not sure who saw it first. Maybe my mom, maybe my brother. But one thing is for sure. A hand reached in through the doorway and pulled its way into the room. Following close behind, a headless woman. Growing up in Vietnam, the paranormal was quite normal to my mom. My brother, on the other hand, was scared shitless. I think he wet himself. By the time we fully settled in, it had almost been forgotten. It was probably just their imagination. Or was it? Well, that summer, even at night, it was so hot that the only way my brother could cool down was to open the refrigerator and bask in the cold air. I think he heard dripping sounds first. And then, when he turned around, there she was, just standing there, head in one hand, my bottle in the other. I don't think Steve wanted to linger around long enough to see her face because all he cared about was getting out of that kitchen. As he made his way back to the room where we all slept, I think for a moment, he thought he had seen my mom. But when he saw all of us in the bedroom, he knew it couldn't have been any of us. To this day, my brother tries to rationalize that night in a bunch of different ways. Oh, maybe this happened, or maybe that. The one thing we can't explain is this. The following morning, that baby formula was still sitting on the counter when my mom went in. She didn't know who made it. No one did. have to understand about this last story is that when you're poor and you've got a family to support, you'll do anything for money. When this job came along, my parents couldn't say no. It was good money, regardless of how strange that call from the man was. They agreed to take the job. When the man opened the door, my mom instantly felt something was wrong. Maybe it was the air or the energy, but her stomach turned. The man was polite. "Welcome. Please come in." He led them to the back room of the house, but wouldn't even go into the room himself. The thing about the house, though, the overwhelming thing, was this permeating stench that seemed to ooze from everything. He stood at the door and gave simple instructions. Remove the carpet, refinish the floors. That was it. He vanished into another part of the house. As my dad and uncle started working, they sent my mom back out for supplies. She came and went a few times, trying to spend as little time in the room as possible, until finally, there was nothing else for her to do but wait for them to finish. That was when she saw it. The last traces of a bloody outline of a body rolling into the carpet. As soon as she saw it, she had to bite down a scream. But she couldn't contain herself. She let out the smallest peep, trying to tell them she saw the stain of a body. But my dad and uncle told her she was just seeing things. She begged them to unroll the carpet, but they wouldn't. They kept asking her to stay quiet until the man suddenly appeared at the doorway. From that moment on, he watched their every move. My mother couldn't take it. Eventually, she just left and went to wait in the car. When the job was finally done, the strange old man paid in cash. As they drove home, nobody spoke. I hope you enjoyed these scary stories. Can you guess which one is fiction? Is it the doll, the mother, or the body? Can you guess? It's the doll. Are you surprised? Here's a fun fact. So my aunt really did create that horror doll and used it to punish me. So it's technically true, just a little bit embellished. By the way, that story about the headless woman, when I asked my mom if she gave me the formula she found on the countertop, she said she couldn't remember. If you'd like to see more stories like these, make sure to thumbs up so that I know that you want to see more.